So, you've started building wealth. That's a massive deal, seriously. But here's the thing, as your net worth grows, a whole new set of financial traps starts to pop up, and they can totally sabotage all your hard work. So in this explainer, we're going to break down how to spot and navigate those hidden pitfalls.
Okay, let's kick things off with a number that, honestly, it might just blow your mind. 40%. That's the percentage of people earning over $500,000 a year who say they're living paycheck to paycheck. It sounds completely impossible, right? But it's a very, very real trap.
So that really begs the question, why isn't a huge salary a golden ticket to financial freedom? Well, it's because making the money is only half the battle. Keeping it, and, more importantly, growing it, that means learning how to avoid the traps we're about to explore.
All right, first up, let's dive into the engine of your wealth, your investments. We're talking about portfolio pitfalls, those hidden risks that can cause the whole thing to break down when you least expect it. Okay, the first big one is something called overconcentration. And really, it's just a fancy way of saying you've got way too many eggs in one basket. You know, like putting more than 10% of your entire portfolio into a single stock. When you do that, you're essentially betting your whole financial future on the performance of just one company. And if you want a perfect cautionary tale, just look at this. Take Intel. It was a tech darling back in the year 2000. If you went all in on Intel stock back then, you'd still be down today, still. Meanwhile, the broader S&P 500 has multiplied 5 times over. It's such a stark reminder of the danger of betting on a single horse, no matter how strong it looks at the starting gate.
So, what's the solution? It's actually pretty simple. You set a rule for yourself. The professional guideline is to keep any single stock between 5 and 10% of your total portfolio. That's it. It's a simple checkup you can do right now to make sure you're not accidentally taking on way too much risk.
All right, this next trap is a little different. It's not about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's all in your head. It's overconfidence. This is what happens when you have a really good run and you start to think you've got the Midas touch. You feel like you just can't lose, which, ironically, is exactly when you start taking on dangerous levels of risk. You know, I actually had a friend who fell right into this. See, he had this amazing couple of years picking stocks, and he started to feel invincible, like a real genius. So what'd he do? He doubled down. He concentrated his portfolio even more, started playing with options, trading on margin, the whole shebang. The result? He lost over 30% of his money while the market was basically flat. It was a brutal, brutal lesson. A hot streak doesn't mean you're an expert. Sometimes it just means you got lucky.
Okay, let's switch gears to our next trap, and this one is kind of counterintuitive. Being illiquid. This is the classic asset-rich, cash-poor problem. Your net worth statement might look absolutely fantastic on paper, but if all that wealth is tied up in things you can't easily sell, like your house, you have very little flexibility to jump on new opportunities or handle a sudden emergency.
And look, don't think for a second this is some rare problem. For households in that $1 to $2 million range, a staggering 2/3 of their wealth is typically locked away in their main home and their retirement accounts. This means even millionaires often don't have $1 million they can actually use.
Okay, on to part 2, lifestyle leaks. I want you to think of your finances like a bucket. These are the small, everyday habits that silently poke holes in it, draining your wealth slowly over time.
And the biggest leak of them all? Oh, it's lifestyle creep. It is so common. You get a raise, so you get a nicer car. You get a promotion, you get a bigger house. Your expenses rise right alongside your income. And that crucial gap between what you earn and what you spend, you know, the gap where wealth is actually built, it never gets any wider.
I mean, look at this data from Goldman Sachs. It is just wild. You kind of expect people earning under 50 grand to be living paycheck to paycheck, right? But look at the high income brackets. We're talking about a massive portion of people making over $300,000 a year who are in the exact same boat. It's proof that no amount of income can protect you from lifestyle creep.
All right, next up, taxes. Yeah, I know, nobody's favorite topic, but listen, for most of us, taxes are our single biggest expense, so ignoring this is just leaving free money on the table. Simple things like not maxing out your 401k or putting the wrong kinds of investments in the wrong accounts can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars every single year.
And you know, the same exact logic applies to your debt. Being lazy about something like refinancing can be incredibly costly. Let's just look at the math for a mortgage here. A simple 1% drop in your interest rate, that can save you over $260 a month. The key is to figure out your break-even point on the fees. In this case, it takes about 38 months.
If you plan to stay in your home longer than that, it's a total no-brainer. And finally, once you've done all this work to optimize your finances, you absolutely have to protect what you're building. As your net worth grows, your insurance needs grow right along with it. I love this little story about the investor Graham Stephan. He reviews all of his insurance policies every single Valentine's Day. And yeah, it sounds kind of unromantic, but his logic is perfect. It's a day about protecting the people you love, and being properly insured is a huge part of that.
All right, we've made it to our final section, mindset minefields. We've talked portfolio mechanics, we've talked about your budget. Now let's get into the psychological traps that can undermine the whole thing.
And the most devastating mindset trap of all, it's simply waiting. It's procrastinating on saving for retirement. Let me be clear, the single most important factor in how much you retire with isn't your salary, and it's not your investment genius. It's how early you start saving. Time is your single most powerful asset.
Honestly, this right here might be one of the most powerful charts in all of personal finance. It shows two people saving the exact same amount of money. The only difference is that one of them started at age 25 and the other waited until 35. That 10-year head start, thanks to the absolute magic of compounding, results in nearly double the money by retirement. That's not a small difference. It's incredible. It's why you just can't afford to wait.
Okay, so here is a super simple, super powerful rule to put this into action. Save at least half of every single raise you get. You get a $10,000 raise, $5,000 of it goes straight into your investments, no questions asked. This one habit, it fights lifestyle creep and it fights delaying your savings. It does both at the same time. It is a total game changer.
Okay, now for our very last trap. And I'll bet it's one you're not expecting. It's working too much. See, there comes a point in your wealth-building journey where your time becomes more valuable than your labor. Your investments start working for you, and that extra hour at the office starts to have diminishing returns on your wealth and, more importantly, on your life.
And look, this isn't just about optimizing a spreadsheet. This is about your life. This quote is just so powerful because it reminds us what the real goal is here. No one on their deathbed ever wishes they had spent more time at the office. They wish they'd spent more time enjoying the life that all their hard work was supposed to provide.
So, after all that, what does this all mean? Avoiding these traps, it's not just about piling up more money. It's about taking a step back and redefining what wealth really, truly means to you.
Which brings us to the final and maybe most important question. It's so easy to get caught up in the numbers, right? The spreadsheets, the next milestone. But the real goal is to use that wealth as a tool. So as you're building your net worth, you have to keep asking yourself, are you also building a life you truly want to live?